Part 46. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 451. The corner of Baikin Chun's mouth curled up unconsciously when she was rubbed by the cute little Liulian, but she quickly pressed it down with difficulty, tightening her beautiful face, with dark and bright pupils. A little entangled, she actually wanted the super mecha, but Fenyuyu said it was a gift for the second wedding anniversary. To be honest, through Fenyuyu's subtle and tireless gift-giving this year, she could no longer maintain her original coldness and alienation towards him, and her original mentality of taking advantage of his existence could no longer be used, or at all. If she needs to take the initiative to use the means, this man will rush to her door to take advantage of her. She doesn't need to say anything at all, he will help her arrange it properly behind the scenes, and also help her and Mu Yuen seeing we have overcome many difficulties. The pills in her hand, her unique medical skills, and the resources on Mu Yuen planet are all equivalent to a piece of fat, and everyone wants to take a bite. Bai Qianchun, an orphan with no power and no help, would inevitably be forced by the capital forces who coveted fat. But with Fenyuyu behind her to help control her, although there are still people who covet her and Mu Yuen seeing, but he no longer dared to use radical methods in a big way, only some small tests that seemed like scratching an itch were left. So I have to say that in this marriage with Fenyuyu, she was the one who really took advantage, and it was also because of Fenyuyu's love. Bai Qianchun lowered his eyes, covering up the complicated emotions in his eyes. Are you emotional? She touched her heart and asked herself. A year ago, she could have categorically answered that she only wanted to engage in infrastructure construction and career, but not emotions. But now, it seems that she can no longer be categorical. Like love, she has never experienced this emotion before, nor does she understand it well, so she simply doesn't want to think about it. Bai Qianchun was not a person who easily got entangled, so she just let nature take its course. In just 2 or 3 seconds, she quickly threw away her entangled emotions. She took out a porcelain bottle from the space and looked at Fenyu, who was looking at her eagerly. Jade passed over. Fenyuyu's eyes lit up, and he quickly took it with both hands. Then he heard Baikin Chun's faint voice, "Return gift, this is the 9 turns pill. No matter what kind of injury or death, take 1 pill to save your life." 9 transformations pill. Fenyuyu's breathing increased with excitement. This can give people 1 more life. A year ago, she gave her cousin 1, saying it was for life-saving purposes. It was said to be very expensive, and every medicinal material they are all extremely precious and expensive. The price of a finished product is even higher. The cost price has reached 3 billion. They are not sold to the outside world. It is just a gift from his cousin. He felt very sad after hearing about this. He also secretly inquired about her and her cousin's affairs, and then he felt relieved after making sure that his head was not a little green. However, he still couldn't help but feel sad when he saw his cousin. All unpleasant. Now she actually gave him a whole bottle. His smile showed a row of white teeth, and the evil handsome man turned into the stupid husband next door in an instant. Leng Xiao didn't even notice. At this time, the 2 miserable people who were thrown to the ground by Lu Lian woke up. Leng Xiao suddenly looked serious. He walked over and clicked their chins twice, and then faced them. The strange man searched up and down. Baikin Chun's attention was attracted by his movements, and she raised her eyebrows in surprise and asked, "What are you looking for?" Leng Xiao withdrew his hand from the strange man's pocket and showed Bai Qianchun a plain ring and a beautiful diamond butterfly brooch. His face was expressionless, but his tone was very serious. "Space button, he took it from me and Feng Tanggui before. It contains most of his savings, as well as the pills given by Sister Chun, which cannot be thrown away." This group of people used insidious methods. In order not to alarm others, they chose to use drugs directly. He was indeed tricked at first, but because he often took various pills that were beneficial to the body this year, although he was not as built as he was in his previous life. It is immune to all poisons, but its physical fitness and resistance are very strong. He actually woke up 5 minutes after being tied up, but at that time he was already tied up on the speedster, and he heard that the group seemed to be planning to threaten Sister Chun with him, and there was also Feng Gui next to him. It would be easy for him to escape on his own, but when he was outnumbered, he didn't have much confidence in escaping safely with the unconscious Feng Gui, so he chose to wait and see what happened, pretending to be dazed to see what happened. Then after he was brought here, he and Feng Gui were searched by this monster man and the charming woman beside him, and the space buttons and other things on his body were taken away. He still endured and continued to pretend to be faint, because he himself was the most powerful attack does not need to rely on external objects. He just secretly left a defensive shield for Feng Gui and waited for the opportunity. Until Bai Qian-chun came over, he secretly gave her a hint, and the two relied on their tacit understanding in their previous lives to work together to kill the enemy and escape from trouble. The result, of course, was as successful as ever. After putting the plain ring back on his hand, Leng Xiao looked at the remaining diamond bow brooch in his hand. After thinking about it, he put it in his pocket first, then looked at Bai Qian-chun and asked, "Sister Chun, what should I do with these people? Want to torture?" Bai Qian-chun glanced at Feng Yuyu beside him. "Leave it to him, it's related to the Orc Empire." Feng Yuyu suppressed the silly smile on his face and nodded solemnly, "Well, it should be the batch that was not caught. My people will be here soon." Speaking of this, his peach blossom eyes darkened, and he grinned at his teeth secretly. It seemed that the speed of the investigation and search was not fast enough, and he actually let these spies run away. He still had time to brazenly kidnap people at the first military academy. Threatening his wife, Feng Yuyu was very angry. It was time to let those lads under him work overtime. There is no need to sleep until we find all the spies in the Orc Empire. Zhuang Shu, who was following the patrol guards, suddenly sneezed. The patrol guard captain glanced at him and asked suspiciously, "Adjutant Zhuang has a cold?" Zhuang Shu rubbed his nose casually and shook his head, "Probably not. I'm in good health. I haven't been sick for a long time. It must be the superior who is talking about me again." The patrol guard's eyes suddenly showed an expression of envy. Adjutant Zhuang was so lucky to be remembered by the little lord. To say where the most enviable job is now, it must be the Feng family group and the Feng family's Third Army. The Feng family's heir, Lord Feng, is famous for being generous to his subordinates. In the Feng family group and the Feng family's Third Army, it is said that the welfare benefits of the people in the Third Army are the best in the industry. It's a pity that he failed when he took the exam for the Third Legion, so he could only come back and be an ordinary patrol guard captain of the main star. But Zhuang Shu, who was envied, had a solemn expression. He was no longer the young, energetic boy who was eager to be reused by the superior. The past few years of staying with the superior had taught him that being cared about by the superior was definitely not a good thing. Either working overtime or practicing extra, he doesn't want to be thought about at all. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 452. Bai Qian-chun took out a few more porcelain bottles from the space Niuli, filled them with truth pills and handed them to Feng Yuyu. "That monster man looks like a big fish. He needs to be carefully examined to maybe find a breakthrough." Feng Yuyu accepted it unceremoniously, put the porcelain bottle into the space button, looked at Bai Qian-chun, and said considerately, "I'll take you back to the first military academy." Bai Qian-chun shook her head and refused. "No, I'll go back with Leng Xiao and leave Wei Wei to me. You'd better deal with the things here first." Feng Yuyu secretly sighed that it was a pity that his second wedding anniversary was ruined by these hateful spies, but there was nothing he could do about it. Although he wanted to continue having a candlelight dinner and a drink with his wife, but considering that there might be a threat of watching his wife secretly, he could only let the matter go for the time being. Okay, then be careful on the road. Super mechas have the ability to think independently and their defense capabilities are better than top-level defense covers. If you encounter an accident on the way, you can hide in the super mecha. Fen Yuya kept nagging, like a little daughter-in-law sending her husband out, rattling uneasily. At first, Bai Qianchun listened patiently to his concern. When Zhuangshu came with the patrol guards, he was still talking. When the patrol guards tied everyone up and prepared to take them away, he was still talking about Bai Qianchun finally being patient. She couldn't help but interrupt him with a sullen face. Okay, I understand, it's not like a 3-year-old kid wants to go out. Leng Xiao, pick up Wai Wei and let's go. Then she took out the flying car and jumped on it first. After Leng Xiao came up with Feng Tanggui in his arms, the flying car did not stop and flew away in a cool swish. Fen Yuyu, who stayed where he was, stood there blankly, raising his head to watch the speeding car, like a loving stone looking at his wife. After watching the whole process, the patrol guard captain's face was red and he was in a trance. Ah, this seems to be completely different from the rumored young Lord Feng who has a sharp tongue and is not hypocritical towards women? Who is this handsome guy who talks about the smelly and long foot bindings of an old lady? I never heard that Lord Feng has a twin brother. Fen Yuyu regained his composure and became furious, leading the men to catch the remaining spies aggressively. Bai Qianchun had already taken the disguise pill on the flying car and returned to the first military academy. The school gate. It happened that the second Prince Jin Yujin was sent out by 2 handsomely dressed teenagers. He had a smile on his gentle and jade-like face. When he noticed Bai Qianchun coming over, his warm, sweet brown eyes looked straight at her with a smile. Coming over, she took another look at Leng Xiao who was following her and Feng Tanggui in his arms, with just the right amount of suspicion and surprise flashing through her smiling eyes. Cousin, where did you come back from? Is Cousin Feng okay? Bai Qianchun raised an eyebrow on her cold and indifferent face. She was not surprised that the second prince knew her true identity. After the high-level imperial meeting a few days ago, her disguised identity should no longer be a secret among the higher UPS in the empire. Yes, it's natural for him to know. Bai Qianchun nodded slightly and called out calmly, Your Highness, the second prince. Then he said, we just went on a mission. Wai Wei was just too tired and fell asleep. Please pay attention to His Highness the second prince. If nothing happens, we will go in first. Qin Yujin's warm smile was still cheerful. Okay, I've delayed your time. You go in and have a rest. Bai Qianchun glanced at him, nodded to him, then raised her feet and continued walking forward. Leng Xiao hugged the person and followed her without looking away. He passed Qin Yujin directly and didn't notice him at all. The 2 people following Qin Yujin frowned and cursed angrily. That female student is the first place in the first military academy this year? Why did His Highness call her cousin? She is too arrogant. How dare she not mention the 2? Your Highness sees it, and the kid behind her, they are so arrogant, I will teach them a lesson. Qin Yujin stopped them, still smiling warmly, and said in a good-tempered manner, it's nothing. Maybe my cousins are too tired and didn't notice the etiquette. Besides, this is the first military academy, and you are also students of the first military academy. You are making trouble here, not good for you. The 2 teenagers were calmed down by him, but their anger was still lingering and they groaned twice, Your Highness, you have such a good temper. All kinds of cats and dogs dare to jump on your head. According to your ability, Second Highness, you don't say anything compared with His Highness the Crown Prince, but compared with His Highness the 4th Prince and His Highness the 5th Prince, it is more than enough. His Highness the 4th Prince can be so flamboyant and frequently trend on Star Network. Why don't you be more flamboyant? If you are also often trending, maybe His Majesty the Emperor can also see your talent. In response to this, Qin Yujin still responded with his usual helpless and bitter smile. The two young men who provoked him scolded the fourth and fifth princes again, and even the imperial prince Liu Yuchen was brought in, saying that he deliberately covered up. Qin Yujin's merits suppressed him and prevented him from being in the limelight. Qin Yujin had a helpless smile on his face, and was helpless beside him as if he couldn't stop him. After separating from the two scolding young masters, Qin Yujin's gentle smile suddenly turned gloomy, and his smiling eyes were full of viciousness. Nakaiwu failed, useless thing. At this time, a palace guard came over and said respectfully, Your Highness, His Majesty the Emperor has summoned several highnesses to return to the palace. Please ask Your Highness to come back with us. Qin Yujin clenched her fists, her eyes flickering in and out. When she raised her head again, she had returned to her usual gentle and jade-like smile. Okay, I'll go back with you right now. When Feng Tanggui woke up, the moon was already above the willow branches. She sat up from the bed in a daze, rubbed her eyes with her hands, and then turned her head to look at her surroundings. As soon as she saw it, her eyes lit up. This room she is so familiar, she personally watched people decorate it. You're awake. Bai Jianchun walked in with 2 glasses of milk and handed the milk to her. Ye Feng Tanggui nodded, took the cup obediently, then raised his head to look at Bai Jianchun and asked suspiciously, Sister-in-law, why am I here with you and sleeping on your bed? Bai Jianchun sat on the edge of the bed and drank from another glass of milk. The pure white milk touched her pink lips. After swallowing a mouthful of milk, she looked at Feng Tanggui and said slowly, You were kidnapped in a coma before, but were rescued later. I was worried about sending you back to your own dormitory to sleep, so I arranged for you to stay with me. How do you feel now? Are you feeling unwell? Feng Tanggui's eyes widened suddenly, and she took a sip of milk to calm down, but she still couldn't help but said in surprise, Am I kidnapped? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 453. Feng Tanggui's big watery eyes rolled twice, as if he thought of something, and suddenly he said, It seems like it, I was secretly hiding in the corner eating melon, but suddenly my head felt dizzy. My eyelids were heavy, and then I fell down. I didn't expect that I was kidnapped by the coma. Who kidnapped me? She blinked her eyes very curiously, with a bit of regret on her beautiful and bright face. Unfortunately, I fainted the whole time and didn't see anything. Bai Jianchun had black hair, and when he saw that she really had no fear, he didn't hide it from her. He told her the whole story, and he also took out a bottle of pills that he had just made and asked her to take one. Universal detoxification pill. The main star is not safe now. There is no guarantee that those spies will take risks again and come to threaten her with kidnapping. It is better to prepare more protection for Feng Tanggui and tell her to be careful recently, and it is best not to go out alone. Feng Tanggui nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Yeah, I know, sister-in-law, I will never leave alone in the future, joking with my own life. Alas, who knew that even those in the first military academy would dare sneaking in, and this time it was an accident. I just listened in the corner for a while and got too obsessed, so I accidentally fell into the trap alone. Bai Jianchun was confused. What corner did you listen to? When asked this, Feng Tanggui became more energetic. Her eyes sparkled. I heard a super big melon. Bai Jianchun took another sip of milk and asked cooperatively, What kind of melon? They are those 2 people from the Lin family of the 5th prince's mother's family. Sister-in-law, you should know each other. You met on the first day of the martial arts exam. One is named Lin Guiyan and the other is named Lin Fizhu. I saw that there was a lot of tugging in the cracks in the teaching building, and I knew something was wrong at a glance. I was afraid that Lin Guiyan would suffer, so I followed her to see if she needed help, but unexpectedly I heard some breaking news. It turns out that Lin Fizhu was not sincere when he was with Shen Gafei of the Shen family. He did it on purpose. He likes Lin Guiyan, but the elders of the Lin family are all blinded by lard and want to strengthen the Lin family. They want Lin Fizhu to be together. Two outstanding juniors, Lin Guiyan and Lin Guiyan, entered into a marriage alliance to obtain resources, help the fifth prince gain support and consolidate his status. Lin Fizhu definitely didn't want the person he liked to marry someone else, but they couldn't fight against the entire family. At that time, Shen Gafei happened to come up to seduce him, so he thought of a good way to pretend to be in love with Shen Gafei. The Lin family and the Shen family, one is the fifth prince camp, and the other is the fourth prince camp. They are naturally hostile. No, after Lin Fizhu fell in love with Shen Gafei, the Lin family immediately exploded and disagreed with them being together. The more Fei Sui behaves, the more his sex drives him crazy, and his madness for love lowers the bottom line of the Lin family. Recently, the Lin family has been dispelled by the rumor that Lin Fizhu will be taken back by the Shen family to become the son-in-law. Lin Fizhu's plan succeeded. The Lin family remembered Lin Guiyan. They would rather Lin Guiyan and Lin Fizhu get married. The Lin family internally did not want Lin Fizhu to become the Shen family's son-in-law. Speaking of this, Fen Tanggui was still amazed. I didn't expect that taciturn Lin Fizhu could come up with such a damaging move. It's a pity that he miscalculated a little and didn't communicate the plan to Lin Guiyan in advance so that she could believe it. I really thought this man had moved on, and now he is going to chase his wife in the crematorium. After talking about the two protagonists, Fen Tanggui talked about the mistress again. Speaking of Shen Gafei, this woman is also very pitiful. She seduces people and seduces a lonely person. Lin Fizhu treats her as a tool from the beginning to the end, and treats her doing what he says and doing everything the way he wants is just a show for the Lin family so that they can agree to his marriage to Lin Guiyan. Now that the Lin family has compromised, she probably won't be of much use as a tool. However, after thinking about Shen Gafei's pretentious, green tea bitch and other behaviors in the dormitory these days, Fen Tanggui felt that there must be something hateful about her pitiful person. If she had not done this and not actively seduced people, she would not have been killed by Lin Fei. Su Shun was regarded as the target person. Bai Qianchun also found it interesting after listening to the whole story. Sure enough, there are a lot of right and wrong in a big family. The affairs of the royal family are not limited to both young and old. Speaking of which, Lin Fizhu and Lin Guiyan, the fateful couple who were almost separated by their families and got married, also had their origins in the royal family. Then she considered her words and asked slightly curiously, "I have always heard you mention the Lin family, the Shen family and the fourth prince, but why have you never mentioned the fifth prince? I saw no news about the fifth prince on the Star Network. Less than the second prince." Fen Tanggui chuckled, "Well, my sister-in-law is asking the right person when she asks me. In fact, the fifth prince and the fourth prince have been having constant conflicts this year, and there are countless undercurrents. In fact, it has nothing to do with the fifth prince himself. It was all done by concubine Lin, the fifth prince's mother and concubine, to the Lin family by borrowing the fifth prince's name. The fifth prince is actually an otaku with a bit of social anxiety. He doesn't like those who fight, and he has no interest in the throne. His biggest wish is actually to be a cook. Unfortunately, being a cook is not a good thing on the stage, so he is, after being scolded and scolded by his mother and concubine countless times, he could only switch to mecha design, and became a master of Avalon mecha manufacturing. He only kept his desire to be a cook in his heart as a hobby. This time he came to participate in the military school examination was the first time he escaped from his mother's concubine's wishes by hiding his identity. Bai Qianchun's face was full of surprise, since he escaped by hiding his identity. Why do you know so well that you even know that he is a social terror and wants to be a cook? Fentangui chuckled, of course the fifth prince said it himself. You also know this fifth prince's sister-in-law. Bai Qianchun was stunned for a moment, then frowned and started thinking. He quickly found a suspect in his mind and said with surprised eyes, is it him, Qin Xiao? She remembered that when Lin Guiyan introduced Qin Xiao during the martial arts exam, she introduced 3 key points: he is her cousin, he is afraid of society and doesn't like to talk, and he has extraordinary cooking skills. The fifth princes that Fentangui talked about all matched up. Sure enough, Fentangui nodded heavily, yeah, that's him. He is indeed my sister-in-law. I guessed it so quickly. Sister-in-law, you have been hiding in the dormitory to study for the past few days. Lin Guiyan, the fifth prince and Leng Xiao, Zhu Bao, Ye Yang and the others are doing well, and Meng Xiu from Tuyuan Star often brings Hua Zhe to play with us. Then she happily drank the last sip of milk, turned on the computer, moved to the back of the bed, reached out to pat the empty bed, and greeted Bai Qianchun happily, sister-in-law, come on, the fifth prince and Leng Xiao's live broadcast is about to start. Isn't it said that Leng Xiao saved me? I'll give him more rewards. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 454. Live broadcast. Bai Qianchun felt that she had fallen behind the times after being in seclusion for a few days. What about the live broadcast? Although she was suspicious, she put down the cup and sat on the bed calmly. She and Fentangui leaned on the soft pillow at the head of the bed and watched the projection she projected. On the projection, Leng Xiao and Qin Xiao were seen standing in a small but luxuriously decorated kitchen wearing carrot aprons. One has a paralyzed and indifferent face, and the other has an expressionless face. If you look closely, you can still see his shyness. At this moment, the paralyzed and indifferent Leng Xiao was speaking, and his tone was also cold. What we are going to do tonight is spicy crayfish, mutton kebabs, and seafood braised noodles. The screen immediately exploded, and countless people watching began to howl. Zhan Tianxia, these two devils who spread poison late at night are here again. I love late night snacks. Use the coldest tone to say the most seductive words. Very good, man, you successfully caught my attention. Xiao Nanan, it's another day of self-flagellation. Two handsome chefs, you are capable of poisoning late at night and selling it publicly. We really want to eat it too. Let's discuss it. You don't need to deliver the food. How about we come to pick it up in person? Mecha manufacturing genius, Junior Qin Xiao, I'm right next door to you. I just came back from assembling the mecha with my teacher and I'm very hungry. Can I be lucky enough to eat the midnight snack you made? I don't ask for much. 10, no, 20 spicy crayfish and 3 skewers of mutton are enough. I can give you the best version of the notes I have saved over the past few years. The mastermind of the economics department, oh, hey, I brought out the masters of the mecha manufacturing department, Junior Leng Xiao and Junior Qin Xiao. Then I understand that people don't tell secrets. I'll tell you the truth, and so do I. I am a master of academics and have never lost a single investment. If the two students have any financial management needs, I can be their investment manager. As for the remuneration, I only need to charge a small amount. All night snacks until graduation will be provided by them. It would be nice if a junior student provided it. The most handsome guy from the mecha combat department, he is indeed a boss. From the economic department, he can both solicit customers and have late night snacks. He is really good at counting. What followed was a series of wolf howls offering favors in exchange for late night snacks. Unfortunately, the two chefs on the projection were unmoved and didn't even change their expressions. They skewered skewers when they needed to, and cut the meat when they needed to. He completely ignored the seniors and fellow students who were wailing all over the screen. It can be said that he was very aloof. Bai Qianchun watched a few posts asking for support and exchange, and subconsciously looked up at the number of online viewers in the upper left corner. There were quite a few people, there were already more than 8,000 people. That's about 1/5 of the entire First Military Academy. Fentangui watched with gusto, and generously sent flowers and warships, which exploded the entire screen. The warships whizzed past, drowning out many wailing subtitles. After a while, she was directly promoted to become the top rich person in this late-night live broadcast of poisoning. Seeing Baikin Chun's surprised expression, she happily introduced it to the side. Although this live broadcast is on the intranet of the First Military Academy, the gifts are not limited to points or star coins. It can also be regarded as helping many poor students from poor families. Well, now many students in the Military Academy are doing this live broadcast. Some are dedicated to broadcasting the essence of mecha manufacturing, some are broadcasting simulated battlefield killings, and some are broadcasting investment analysis of the economics department. In short, they can broadcast anything. There has never been a group like Fifth Prince and Leng Xiao who broadcast late-night food productions, so their live broadcast attracted many students from the beginning. In the past few days, whenever I go live, I can see the screen full of requests. They sell late-night snacks, but unfortunately Leng Xiao and the Fifth Prince are determined not to sell them. They only open the holographic simulation permission, which allows them to eat delicious food virtually on the Star Network. Hey, sister-in-law, if you are willing, you can live broadcast the pill making. There will definitely be more people wanting to buy it on the barrage. Although Bai Qian-chun found it interesting, she had no intention of live broadcasting it because she wouldn't be able to stay at the First Military Academy for long. If Marshal de Rong's side worked well, she would be specially recruited to the 9th Army in a few days. She originally wanted to bring Leng Xiao and Ye Yang with her. After all, these two were her partners in her previous life and the people she trusted the most. With them here, she could let go and work in the 9th Legion. But looking at Leng Xiao on the screen, although his face was paralyzed and indifferent, he looked like he was enjoying it. She couldn't bear to let him join her in the 9th Legion's intrigues. What are Ye Yang doing these 2 days? Ye Yang, Fentangui stared at the sizzling mutton skewers in the projection. He sipped his saliva twice, touched his empty belly and answered subconsciously, he and Zhu Bao are two people it's so mysterious that I don't know what they are doing, and they wouldn't tell me even if I asked. Zhu Bao Baikin Chun's long, densely curled eyelashes trembled and drooped slightly, with a thoughtful look in her black pupils. She had been so busy these days that she almost forgot about him. She hadn't asked what was going on with the purple sycamore leaf on his clothes at that time. Ye Yang hung out with him probably because of that purple sycamore leaf. After thinking about it, Bai Qian-chun didn't hesitate and sent a message directly to Ye Yang, asking what happened to Zhu Bao and the purple sycamore leaf. Ye Yang's message was quickly replied, Sister Chun, are you done with your research? Bai Qian-chun adjusted to a comfortable posture, and slowly replied to the message with her fingers, it's almost done, the results will be available tomorrow, let's talk about Zhu Bao first. Ye Yang, oh, Zhu Bao, the purple phoenix leaves on his clothes were embroidered by Lao Ba. Lao Ba also wore them. Lao Ba couldn't take them off himself, so he asked Zhu Bao to wear these clothes. Come to us, Sister Chun, you made such a big noise on Wuyuan planet, and those pills, Lao Ba's smart mind must have guessed you a long time ago. He was obviously excited when he sent this news. Bai Qian-chun felt it and felt the same, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. Lao Bai Liang Chen, known as Yuiwen Gongzi, when the missile blew up Longzhen City, Lao Ba followed the eldest sister and the others to do tasks outside. Logically speaking, they should have escaped, but now that he is here this means that something happened to the eldest sister and the others during their mission. Now that the 8th child is here, are the eldest sister and the others coming with him? Bai Qian-chun couldn't restrain her joy. She was a little excited and asked Ye Yang with a bit of nostalgia and timidity, well, what about the eldest sister and the others? The eldest sister, Qianjun, Lu Wang, Qin Sheiyu, and the others are also coming together yet? I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Lu Zy. Chapter 455. Yang was silent, a little frustrated. I don't know about this. I haven't contacted Lao Ba yet. I don't know what happened to the star network of the main star recently. I can only connect to the main star domain network, but I can't connect on other planets, the boy Zhu Bao said. Lao Ba is now on Chaos Star, which is far away from the main star. The signals are easily confused. In addition, Chaos Star is already poor and backward, and the star network signals in many places there are not very good. It is difficult to connect them. It's even more difficult. Bai Qianchun's eager and excited mood paused, as if a basin of cold water had been poured on her. We can only connect to the main star domain network. This should be due to the high-level meeting a few days ago. Now we are trying to catch the turtle in the urn. It is normal that we cannot connect to the outer planets. Then Yang's message was sent again. I haven't been idle these days, and I have talked a lot with Zhu Baohe. That guy, Lao Ba, has a smart mind, a dark heart, and cruel hands. He can do anything to Zhu Bao. Wherever he goes he won't be too bad at it. I heard from Zhu Bao that Lao Ba also got involved with a local leader on Chaos Planet and established a private armed army. There was nothing else but that he was a little poor. For this reason, Lao Ba was a bit poor. Black Heart Lotus also made a lot of money from the rich and oily greedy wolf star next door. He is now a prominent figure on several stars on the border. It is said that he is also in line with Marshal Huo's 31st Army. The reason why I didn't come to the main star this time was mainly because I was delayed by this matter. Seeing this, Bai Qianchun's lips curled up and she felt a little more relaxed. Lao Ba can be said to be the most refined and self-interested person besides her in Xiaoyutong. Although she is not a kind-hearted person, she cares about the truth, goodness, and beauty of her elder sister, so no matter what she thinks in her heart, he always acted in line with the eldest sister and the others, and almost all his savings were given to the eldest sister and the others and used as money-spreading boys. But Lao Ba is different. Although he will openly cooperate with Xiaoyutong's actions and spread wealth to save people, in fact, all the extra money he earns in private is hidden by himself, and his life is better than that of the other 7 of them. Many times, Bai Qianchun saw him secretly eating chicken legs behind their backs several times. As a handsome, gentle, and noble young master, it is really difficult for him to do such a thing of secretly eating meat. Bai Qianchun still doesn't understand why he stays in Xiaoyutong, an old and small team, for 3 years and didn't even plan to leave. Obviously, with his intelligence, even if the building owner asked him to stay in Xiaoyutong as a supervisor, he would still be able to find an excuse to leave justifiably. But no matter what, Lao Ba doesn't have any hatred or other bad feelings towards the Xiaoyutong people. If the eldest sister and the others are with him, they won't suffer much loss with him watching secretly. I'm afraid of the eldest sister. They also separated from Lao Ba. Bai Qianchun pursed her lips and sent another inquiring message to Yang. Did you find out from Zhu Bao whether there are people like the eldest sister and the others around Lao Ba? Yang sent her a regretful expression. Zhu Bao doesn't know that boy either. He is not Lao Ba's direct subordinate. Although he idolizes Lao Ba crazily, he doesn't meet him often. When he talks to Lao Ba the most, he is still Lao Ba. Ba knew that he was going to come to the first military academy to take the exam and approached him to tell him about the relevant matters. Bai Qianchun was also very sorry for this, and her cold and beautiful face collapsed. Dong dong dong. The knock on the door made Bai Qianchun, who had been silent in her own world of disappointment, come back to her senses, turned her head and frowned and looked over. Who is it so late? Before she could sit up, Feng Tanggui, who was next to her, jumped for joy and said excitedly, "Wow, it must be Leng Xiao and the 5th prince who brought the late-night snack. Sister-in-law, I'll open the door." Then he saw her jumping over her like a rabbit, putting on her slippers and trotting towards the door. Then she heard the door opening and the conversation between her and the person outside the door. "Hey, Lin Guiyan, why did you send it to me? My cousin also gave me a copy and asked me to go down and get it. I also sent it to you, by the way." "Oh, then why don't you come in and eat together? It's more lively to eat crayfish together. Leng Xiao and the others sent quite a lot of them. Your portion doesn't look like it's for one person." "Well, I originally planned to eat with my roommate, and coincidentally, my roommate's name is also Bai Qianchun." "Hey, that's a coincidence. My sister-in-law and sister Chun have the same name. Let her come with us. It will just happen to meet the destined person with the same name." "Okay, then go and ask her to come with you. You take the things in first." When Bai Qianchun walked out of the bedroom, Lin Guiyan had already left to call someone, while Feng Tanggui was carrying things on the table outside and started arranging the dishes while humming a tune. A large iron basin was filled with spicy crayfish. As soon as the lid of the thermos box was opened, the spicy and delicious smell immediately hit the nostrils. Bai Qianchun, who only drank a bottle of nutrient solution for dinner, was drooled by the fragrance. There are also lamb skewers sprinkled with cumin. The skewers are full of meat and honest. Coupled with a large bowl of seafood braised noodles that are full of color, flavor, they are eye-catching. Feng Tanggui, who had been hungry for a long time, couldn't wait to pick up a skewer of mutton and stuff it into her mouth. After taking a bite, her eyes lit up, her face was filled with enjoyment, and her mouth was filled with oil. Of course, she didn't forget Bai Qianchun. As soon as he saw her, he filled his mouth with meat and shouted excitedly to her, "Sister-in-law, come on, come and eat together." "Here we come." Bai Qianchun smiled, and walked over to get a bunch of mutton skewers to eat. The meat was slightly spicy, with no mutton smell at all, and it was full of excitement after one bite. She also looked satisfied as she ate. "It's delicious." Feng Tanggui raised his eyebrows proudly. One bunch was not enough, so he reached out to grab another one. Lin Guiyan's smiling voice came from the door, "I told you to walk faster, they will definitely eat it." Feng Tanggui and Bai Qianchun both turned their heads and looked over, and saw Lin Guiyan's beautiful and bright face with a smile, pulling a shy girl who was beautiful but with timid eyes, walked in from the door, and then she closed the door, blocking out the resentful and dark eyes of Shen Gafei, who was chasing after them. Seeing these two people, Bai Qianchun remembered what Feng Tanggui said before about listening to people eating in the corner. Feng Tanggui snorted at Lin Guiyan, who said we were eating secretly. We were eating openly. Lin Guiyan and Bai Qianchun laughed together. Feng Tanggui herself also burst into laughter, and Bai Qianchun, who came with Lin Guiyan, also shyly smiled like a little white rabbit. Bai Qianchun met her shy eyes, but they quickly looked away. Bai Qianchun greeted them friendly, "Come and sit. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 456. On the table, each of the four people shared a small plate of seafood braised noodles, a few skewers of mutton skewers, and the spicy crayfish in the middle. They all ate together. The four girls were slurping their breaths. Because of the food, they soon established a good friendship and talked. It also became more casual and natural. Feng Tanggui peeled the spicy crayfish and looked at Lin Guiyan with a smile. "How do you feel when you see Shen Gafei now? I didn't expect that Lin Fizhu was not a scumbag. That woman Shen Gafei was taken advantage of. Speaking of, Lin Feisui is tolerable enough, yet he actually does such a big thing for you." Lin Guiyan paused while sucking the noodles, with obvious surprise in her beautiful eyes. "You know?" "No, how did you know?" Feng Tanggui chuckled, not intending to hide it, and openly revealed the fact that she eavesdropped on eating melon in the corner, Of course I heard it with my own ears in the afternoon, no matter how I knew it, just tell me what you're going to do. I fainted after only listening to half of it and didn't hear the follow-up. Now I'm really itchy. Please tell me quickly. The corner of Lin Guillen's mouth twitched. Is the person in the corner still so confident? Bai Qianchun looked at Lin Guillen with a bit of curiosity while holding mutton skewers in her mouth. She had no experience in relationships, so she could just watch and watch what others did. Lin Guillen glared at Feng Tanggui, then raised her red lips and said very domineeringly, "What else can I do? This man is not a scumbag. He did this for the future of the two of us. I really still feel that in my heart I have him, so I can't throw it away, but he lied to me and I can't let it go easily. Seeing that he worked hard to protect himself from being taken advantage of by Shen Gafei, I plan to let him kneel down a few times first. The big durian from Tianmu Yuan will chase me again until I am satisfied." Then she looked at Bai Qianchun and said bluntly, "I actually have something to ask Mrs. Feng for help when I come over tonight." Feng Tanggui's eyes widened and the meat in his mouth fell out. "Do you know the identity of my sister-in-law?" Lin Guillen nodded cheerfully, "Yes, my cousin told me that Mrs. Feng's identity must be known to many people on the main planet by now, but Mrs. Feng can rest assured, whether it is my cousin or the Lin family, Bian City will follow your wishes and will not inform Bai Zhuangquan of your identity." Bai Qianchun was not surprised by this. She peeled the crayfish slowly and looked up at Lin Guillen. "Tell me first, what help do you need from me?" "I want to join the 9th Legion." Lin Guillen suppressed her smile, held her slender neck high, and said seriously, "I heard the news that recently all the Empire's legions will begin to recruit all 5th-year graduates, and the number of special recruitment quotas will also increase in large quantities, so I want you to help me get a special recruit quota. I know you can do it. In exchange I am willing to obey your command in the 9th Legion and will never betray." Bai Qianchun's bright black eyes showed slight surprise. She did not agree or disagree in a hurry, but asked, "Don't the Lin family also have their own legion?" "I can't go to the Lin family's army." Lin Guillen frowned in distress. "Although the Lin family treats me well, if I join the Lin family's army, I will still be under the control of the Lin family, just like what Lin Fei and I did this time. It's the same thing. If he and I don't have enough weight and power, we will be controlled by the Lin family all our lives. Even if we get married this time, there is no guarantee that there will be a next time. So I think go out independently to establish meritorious deeds and gain power, so that you can have a say in the Lin family and be your own master in the future. As for why I chose the 9th Legion, it's obviously because of you." She looked at Bai Qianchun and said without hiding her ambition, "You are both the master of Muyuan Star and the young lady of the Feng family, and you have the prince behind you. His Highness's protection, coupled with the fact that this supreme meeting has highlighted your importance, the 9th Legion will undoubtedly fall back into your hands in the future. As long as you are here, I believe that the 9th Legion will soon rise and ascend. As your first group of confidants, I will naturally gain huge benefits from it. It will be better than going to other legions, and I can rise faster. Therefore, the 9th Legion is the best choice for me. Another reason is that my cousin also supports it. He has no intention of becoming the 5th prince, and he has no intention of competing with the prince for the position. He hopes that the good talents of the Lin family will leave the Lin family as soon as possible, weakening the power of the Lin family, and reducing their struggle for power. To seize the upper hand, he was the first to suggest that I carry your thighs to the 9th Army." In response, Bai Qianchun raised her eyebrows and reached out, "Then you are welcome to join." Lin Guillen's eyes lit up, and she reached out to hold her hand. "You agreed?" Bai Qianchun chuckled softly, "Why wouldn't I want a good helper that comes to my door? Besides, you are indeed very smart." Lin Guillen's smile was radiant and dazzling. "Then do you need any other help? The two brothers Lin Fizhu and Lin Fiwi also want to work with me." Bai Jian-chun, who had always been as quiet and docile as a little chicken, looked over with bright eyes and said in a shy voice, I want to go too, is it okay? Lin Guiyan turned to look at her, smiled and teased, I think you want to follow my brother Fiwi. Bai Jian-chun shyly evaded her eyes, her shy little fair face suddenly turned red, even her fair neck showed a hint of pink, her timid voice faltered, he is very powerful, he can protect me. Bai Jian-chun also looked over with a smile, I don't accept everyone. If you don't have the ability to protect yourself and go to the army to go to the battlefield, you will lose your life. No matter how powerful the person is, he can't completely protect you. Let's do this, you stay here later and I'll test you first. Bai Jian-chun blushed again in embarrassment, and nodded stammeringly, okay, yes, it should be. After this episode, the seafood braised noodles, mutton skewers, and spicy crayfish on the table were quickly cleared away. Feng Tanggui ate with her belly full, holding her waist and looking satisfied. I want to go downstairs for a walk. You guys want to go downstairs, want to go together? Lin Guiyan also rubbed her bloated belly and stood up, I'll go too, wait for me. Bai Jian-chun handed over the leftovers that he had collected and said, go ahead and throw away the trash. Okay, sister-in-law, let's go. After Lin Guiyan and Feng Tanggui supported each other and left, Bai Jian-chun and Bai Jian-chun were the only two people left in the dormitory. The shy expression on Bai Jian-chun's face disappeared and turned into a cheerful smile. She looked at Bai Jian-chun excitedly and asked, Star-Lord, how am I doing? I have made a mistake these days. Not even Lin Fiwi or Lin Guiyan suspected me. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 457. Bai Jian-chun looked at her with a smile, you performed very well, and your character has not collapsed. Next, when you get to the 9th Legion, you will be better and make progress little by little. Bai Jian-chun nodded seriously, yeah, I will definitely perform well. This Bai Jian-chun, whose real name is actually Lin Qiqui, is a little girl who came to Jupiter more than half a year ago. Speaking of it, she also looks like the special little girl Bai Jian-chun met on the Shaking Light Star. It was related to Qiqui. Lin Qiqui was a person that Rong Qiqui rescued on Tanlang Star, and was later recommended to Muiyuan Star by Rong Qiqui. Bai Jian-chun also investigated later. Although Lin Qiqui was born and raised on Tanlang Planet and was a girl with great abilities, she came to Muiyuan Planet purely to save people and messed with people she shouldn't have messed with. So when I was being hunted, I came to Muiyuan Star to take shelter when I was really desperate. To be on the safe side, after Lin Qiqui entered Muiyuan Planet, she had someone observe her for a period of time to confirm her safety. Unexpectedly, such observation revealed an unexpected surprise. Lin Qiqui likes acting. And given her a character, she can play it so vividly. If she hadn't been born in a bad way and was born on the Greedy Wolf Star from the beginning, she might be a movie queen level actor now. So when Bai Jian-chun wanted to get more Bai Jian-chun to come to the first military academy to confuse the public, she was the first actor chosen. Bai Jian-chun designed a character design for her original character and asked it to be played by Lin Qiqui. As expected, she perfectly portrayed the timidity of her original character Bai Jian-chun. Bai Jian-chun later took the time to watch a video of her taking the martial arts test. She really didn't show any flaws. She was supposed to be a powerful lady who could crack the skull of a sea-level ferocious beast with one fist, but she was stunned in the martial arts test. She restrained her nature, did not take any action, and vividly acted the timid but lucky little girl who was hiding under the protection of Lin Fiwi to get points. After that, Bai Jian-chun was allowed to perform freely, but she didn't expect that she performed better than she imagined. Not only did she make friends with Lin Guiyan, she even used Lin Guiyan's opportunity to establish a relationship with her, and she also took advantage of Lin Guiyan's opportunity. holding the pole to get the special recruitment quota of the 9th Legion. Bai Qianchun had originally intended to let her go with him, because the character she played was the most likely person to be the Princess Bai Qianchun. Taking her there would completely draw Bai Zhuangquan's attention away. Now that Lin Quiqui took the initiative, it saved her the trouble of finding other excuses to take her with her. By the way, according to Lin Guiyan, Lin Quiqui seemed to have hooked up with a flower protector, but she didn't know whether she was sincere or deliberately acting as a shield. Seeing Bai Qianchun staring at her face, Lin Quiqui tilted her head suspiciously. "What's wrong with Star Master? Is there something wrong with my face? Is there something wrong with the Yurong Dan?" Bai Qianchun quickly came back to her senses and shook her head decisively. "No, your face is fine. It's just that you may encounter danger and difficulties after arriving in the 9th Legion." Lin Quiqui raised the corner of her mouth and smiled heartlessly. "What does it matter? I grew up among the poor. Making things difficult for me is like drinking cold water. As for the danger, I will just follow it when the time comes." Next to Lin Fiwi, that stupid big guy is not very smart, but he has good martial arts and a good family background, and he is upright and can be used to show off his power. Besides, my strength is not bad either. Bai Qianchun, that's true. Her martial arts skills were tested by her in person. By the way, Star Master, will Sisters Hizzy also go to the 9th Legion? The Sisters Hizzy in her mouth is another fake Bai Qianchun arranged by Bai Qianchun. The girl who applied for the Mecha's single soldier class, is cold and withdrawn, and is very strong in fighting. Her personality is her original temperament, but except that face was changed by taking Yurong Dan. Their family was kidnapped by interstellar pirates, and both of her parents were seriously injured. She was also dying. Later, she was rescued by Bai Qianchun and became a citizen of the Muyuan Star. When Bai Qianchun approached Lin Quiqui to play the fake Bai Qianchun, she accidentally found out about it, so she volunteered to play the fake Bai Qianchun to share the attention and firepower. So far, she hasn't shown any flaws. However, compared to Lin Quiqui, who had grown up with evil thoughts since childhood and was still very comfortable on Greedy Wolf Star, she was a bit immature. Bai Qianchun did not want her to join the 9th Legion. Bai Zhuangquan is sinister and vicious, and he doesn't know what tricks he will use. Moreover, he encounters more dangers in the Legion and is easier to be manipulated. So when Lin Quiqui asked, Bai Qianchun shook her head decisively. "No, let her continue to stay at the 1st Military Academy." Lin Quiqui's eyes flashed brightly, and she felt a little warm in her heart. She knew that the Star Master was a good person. After listening to that guy Rong Kikai's words, Mu Yuan scene was really good. What about the other two Bai Qianchun? They are also related to you, Star Master, right? A smile flashed in Bai Qianchun's eyes. It's indeed related. Someone help me arrange it? The two of them should also join the 9th Legion. Then you can get along with them more. Lin Quiqui's eyes lit up. Okay, then I can discuss my acting skills with them, hee hee. Seeing the eagerness on her face, Bai Qianchun raised her lips in a funny way. The other three Bai Qianchun were brought over by that person Fen Yu. He didn't use the Yurong Dan at all, and I don't know where he picked them. Their looks are indeed amazing. It is said that the two of them are very powerful. They are all pretty good, and they can definitely survive in the 9th Legion. They can be her assistant and adjutant, and they can also confuse people. They are two excellent candidates. It can be seen that Fen Yu put a lot of effort into getting these two fake Bai Qianchun, at least more carefully than she did. Bai Qianchun curled her lips in a good mood. Time passed and a few days passed. The pill that Bai Qianchun had been researching for several days to remove the red silk cells carrying the orc genes was also successful and has now been produced on Jupiter. The research institute finally came up with the analysis report of the red silk cells carrying the orc genes. It is indeed as Bai Qianchun said, After being killed, the orcs will be suppressed by the higher orcs because of the orc genes. There are still a lot of problems. There is a chance that he will be hypnotized by the Fox King. As for why, it is only a high probability and not 100%, because without the King Fox personally doing the experiment, they are not sure whether this thing is feasible, but after several researchers discussed and argued for a while, they felt that they would rather believe it or not. In short, it is better to report it seriously and attract more attention. At this point, Bai Qian-chun, the first discoverer and the first person to have made the antidote, has gained all the attention of the senior leaders of the Huayao Empire. She has become the biggest contributor to the current Huayao Empire, and she has also been awarded military honors. Similarly, Fen Yuyu also obtained the merit he deserved under the sharp sword of Imperial Prince Liu Yuchen, and was promoted from Major General to General. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 458. The unusual movement on the border of the Orc Empire quickly attracted the attention of the Huayao Empire, which was on high alert against them. The Huayao Empire, which had just been relaxed for a long time, quickly entered a state of war preparation and alert. Because the two empires have been at war all year round, preparations for this war were urgent but still proceeding in an orderly manner for the Huayao Empire. In the first step of preparing for war, the major legions recruit new soldiers, and graduates and special recruits apply in large numbers to join the major legions as reserve armies. The arrest of the main star's spies is still being carried out secretly, and only a few people know about it, so the most popular thing now is the recruitment of new soldiers. The intranets of several major legions were also busy gathering together to discuss which legion was the most popular and recruited the most soldiers this year. General Lieutenant General of the 1st Legion, it must be our 1st Legion. Our 1st Legion is backed by the royal family, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince is in command. With his eyes closed, he knew that he would choose the one with the biggest backer. Amazing shot, fart. Our 31st Army is the first choice during the large-scale recruitment the year before last. Our 31st Army was the one with the most sign-ups. If it weren't for our Marshal Huo's high quality and low price, and the strict entrance examination setting, the total number of our 31st Army has already tripled. Euros, choosing an army depends on your future. Every rank and position in the 1st Army and the 31st Army is already occupied by someone. Do you know if a carrot occupies a hole, if those brats are ambitious and want to go there, those who want to climb up will not choose mature legions such as the 1st Army, the 31st Army, and the 2nd Army. Northern Team, hey, that's interesting. Do you want to go to the almost missing legion? A newborn calf is not afraid of being buried with a rubbish commander before it can climb up without a good commander. Amazing shot, ha 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 ha. What you said makes sense. Following mature legion commanders like us, although climbing is a bit slow, at least your life can be saved. Triumph. Let's not talk anymore, let's look at the data. I think the biggest winner this year is not the 1st Army, nor the 2nd Army, but the 3rd Army, 4th Army, and 31st Army, but the 18th Army of the Shen family, of the 4th Prince's mother's family, and the 47th Army of the Lin family behind the 5th Prince. These two armies have been making a lot of noise recently. They advertise every day and are short of talents. They can climb quickly and have benefits regardless of the treatment. Those young guys who are just starting out can easily be fooled. Looking at the data of the past 2 days, the number of applicants for these two legions is rising sharply. Fihu, hey, if you want to talk about good welfare benefits, who can do better than our 3rd Army? Do you know what we eat these days? Vegetables and rice shipped from Wuyuan planet. Do you know that we get bonuses every time we win a battle? How much? It will be distributed according to merit, with a minimum of 30,000 star coins. Do you know that we have a military merit exchange table? Healing pills, vitality pills, hair growth pills, etc. can all be exchanged for military merit. Talk together. Hey, I admire you. This welfare package is really good. The 9th Legion is just a blank check, but the 3rd Legion is a real deal, brother. Do you accept the transfer? I'm humming here. I've had enough of the Ninth Legion. I haven't been paid for 3 months. Damn white XX capitalists are so hard-hearted. It's damn good to write a blank check. I only regret that I had water in my head and they said that I was confused by the good benefits. If it weren't for Marshal de Wrong, I would have left the Ninth Army even if I was discharged. Have you paid your salary today? Oh, shit, I looked at the list. Why did our Ninth Army recruit so many students this year? Could these little brats be deceived by bad checks just like us? Should I remind them? My conscience aches. Come together, although I really want someone to step into the pit we have stepped on and come in to share the joys and sorrows, but the special recruits are all capable brats. There is no future in the Ninth Legion. I feel sad for you, but it's too late to remind them now. They have already been recruited. If they want to quit, they will be deserters. In this way, they will be able to join other legions at least 3 years later. Have your wages been paid today? Damn by XX, when will our princess come back and take away by XX's power and money? Let's see how arrogant he can still be. Dark Knight's Eve, alas, it would be great if this rule could be changed sometime, and it would be great if we could transfer legions to each other. The second lieutenant of the Ninth Legion expressed that his heart was too bitter. He had already drank the nutrient solution and his whole body was bloated. He wanted to go to the Third Legion for a meal. Phantom, hey, look what I found. There are actually people from the Lin family in the special recruitment of the Ninth Army, and there is also the first person from the 1st Military Academy who was quite popular in the martial arts test. Hey, the son of General Mew of the 1st Army went there too. What the hell? Why are they so obsessed with it? I can still understand that Marshal de Wrong's son De Yan has gone. It's hard for a son to inherit his father's legacy and go to other legions, but what's going on with those other little brats? All of them are quite talented. Wouldn't it be a waste of their talents to join the Ninth Legion? What a pity it would be if they accidentally died on the battlefield. Fengyun assault, hey, you don't know right now our Ninth Legion is about to rise. I know some inside information. The Ninth Legion is about to welcome a great person. I'm afraid these young geniuses are rushing there. If people are going to die, if they really get up, if they can seize the opportunity, they can reach the sky in one step. Phantom, what, is there such a thing? I am also an insider of the Ninth Legion. How come I don't know? Who is that person? Can it have this energy? Is it possible that he is as talented as Marshal Huo? Fengyun assault, this cannot be said or revealed. The person asked for confidentiality, but it cannot be leaked from me. Kwa tribesman, ha ha ha. I also know that person. If that person is here, the Ninth Legion will indeed be able to rise. Maybe the future benefits will be comparable to those of the Third Legion. Gold Medal Death Squadron, yes, that person is so powerful it is entirely possible for the Ninth Legion to come back to life. Phantom, scratching one's head and scratching one's head, Pain Mask JPG, so which one is which? Seeing that that person was making waves on the intranets of several major legions, and the trend was likely to get worse, Bai Qianshun, who was at the center of the topic, was currently listening to the follow-up of Fen Yuyu's arrest of the spy. The mastermind behind the scenes is the second prince. Bai Qianshun looked surprised and a little surprised. When she looked at the second prince before, she always felt a little wrong and uncomfortable. She originally thought that he had bad intentions and was not pretending. Of kindness, I didn't expect him to hide more. Fen Yuyu nodded, that's him, he's a half-orc, he has the blood of the Fox King, and he has some subtle hypnotic abilities. The reason why my cousin and I have a good impression of him is probably because for this reason, if you hadn't pointed out his violations on Wuyuan planet, I might still think that he is a good person. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 459. Speaking of this, Fen Yuyu's handsome face still showed a bit of depression. Unexpectedly, he had been tricked before he knew it. There is also his cousin. His cousin really regards Qin Yujin as his brother. If Qin Yujin is not smart, he is misled by his cleverness. He has an ulterior motive in his heart. In order to avoid suspicion, he created a persona of being indifferent to fame and fortune and did not pick up his cousin. Give him military power, otherwise the First Legion would be in a mess now. But even so, the interior of the First Legion was devoured enough. Almost 1/5 of the soldiers were invested in the first version of red thread cells that destroyed the superpower core, and there were also a few second version of red thread cells that contained orc genes. An officer in an important position was recruited. Probably Qin Yujin didn't want to cause too much commotion, so he acted cautiously, and not many people got the second version of red silk cells. So although the first army is in chaos now, it can still be saved. As for how they found out Qin Yujin, the mastermind behind the scenes, and arrested him in one fell swoop, this was quite a coincidence. It can be said that it was a sign of retribution. Although the Najwa people that Feng Yuya brought back before were assisted by Baikin Chun's truth pills, they seemed to know the effect of the truth pills and refused to speak. The people of the Phoenix battleship wasted a lot of energy and effort. Some clues were pried out from these people, but before they could follow the clues and investigate carefully, another important witness took the initiative to send clues and evidence. Bai Qianchun ate the strawberry while using her eyes to signal Feng Yuya to continue. Feng Yuya glanced at the brightly colored strawberries cut into small pieces on the plate, then raised her eyes to look at the red mouth she was eating, her peach blossom eyes darkening. His Adam's apple rolled and his voice was a little hoarse, "I want to eat too." Bai Qianchun glanced at him, slightly suspicious, "If you want to eat it, just do it yourself. I didn't stop you from eating it." Feng Yuya licked his dry lips, "But there's no fork." Bai Qianchun paused, then pierced the strawberry chunks in the fruit plate with the small silver fork in his hand. Feng Yuya's eyes lit up and he was eager to be fed. But he saw her take out another small silver fork of the same style from the space with her backhand, and quickly and neatly pierced a strawberry nearby, then let go and took back her own fork. "Well, I have it now." Feng Yuya. Who doesn't have a fork in Nuri? Does he want a fork? No, he wants to feed him. The tip of Feng Yu's jade tongue touched her cheek, with a depressed look on her face. They finally sat together to promote their relationship. They both used the same fork. You fed me a bite and I fed you a bite. They looked so much like a loving couple. Who would have thought? This woman is so incomprehensible to amorous feelings. If I had known better, I wouldn't have given her so many beautiful space buttons. There was too much space to hold all these messy forks. Bai Qianchun raised her eyebrows. "What, you don't want to eat?" Feng Yuya grinned at his teeth secretly, but did not dare to show it on his face. He only dared to smile bitterly and spit out one word, "Eat." After taking a bite of sweet strawberries to calm down, Feng Yuya continued at Baikin Chun's urging. "You also know that witness. Do you still remember the person you rescued in the tea room on Shaking Light Star? Her name is Meng Nian." Bai Qianchun frowned and thought about it, then quickly remembered, "Oh, it's her. I remember she was injured at the time and asked me about cell viruses. Could it be that she is also involved in the red silk cell laboratory?" Bai. Feng Yuya shook his head. She just knew some inside information, and she was holding a key piece of evidence that even she didn't know what it was. She was not from the laboratory or someone close to Yujin, but Qin Yuyan, one of my second lieutenants. Bai Qianchun was surprised. Qin Yuyan? The third prince who was convicted of being a spy of the Orc Empire and a traitor who betrayed the war situation of the Huayao Empire. Feng Yuya nodded slightly. "Yes, that's him. His crime back then was indeed a bit illegal, but a lot of evidence pointed out that it was him who betrayed the battle information of the Huayao Empire Legion. It can be said that the evidence is conclusive and certain, so no one defended him. Speak and overturn the case for him. After all, the crime of betraying the empire is too big. If you are not careful, you will be implicated." At first, the army of Qin Yuyan's mother's family, the Sun family, was even implicated and banned and merged into the first army. Therefore, Qin Yuyan became even more no one dares to mention it. Baikin Chun's eyes flickered. So, is it possible that Qin Yuyan was not guilty of betraying the empire, and it was not him who delivered the news on the battlefield? Fen Yuyu, no, he should really have done it, but he might have been manipulated into doing it. This time, Men Nian sent the key evidence, a small amount of red silk cells containing orc genes. Seeing Baikin Chun's interest, he talked about Men Nian's situation again. When she entered the office without knowing the rules around Qin Yuyan, she accidentally discovered that Qin Yujin was injecting something into Qin Yuyan while he was sleeping. She watched the whole process. After the people left, she only had time to save the syringe with a small drop of liquid from the automatic cleaning machine. Before she could tell Qin Yuyan about it, the army had already left. She had no chance to say, "Good luck." Qin Yuyan, who has been controlled by Qin Yujin, has not discovered it. In addition, when Qin Yuyan took her to be trained by his side, it was a temporary move and did not go through military procedures. Therefore, she escaped during the 2 rounds of purges of Qin Yuyan's cronies by the Empire and Qin Yujin. Later, when she realized something was wrong, she decisively retired from the army and took the syringe with her. However, Qin Yujin's people found clues about her and she felt suspicious, so she was targeted. Qin Yujin's people should only think that she is Qin Yuyan's confidant and want to overturn his case, so they don't pursue her very hard. This is why Men Nian survived until now despite being in danger and hiding, and even let her catch her. She took the opportunity and ran to the main star. My search team found her whereabouts suspicious and brought her back to investigate. After that, she figured out the whole story and decisively handed over the syringe that she had kept until now, and also testified against Qin Yujin. I asked the research institute to compare the liquid residue in the syringe and found that it was indeed the second version of red silk cells carrying orc genes. So with enough witnesses and evidence, we can start planning to arrest people. 3 days ago the purpose of summoning the royal children back to the palace was to catch him. He must not have known that he would be exposed early because Men Nian was a fish that slipped through the net, so he was unprepared and was caught before he even had time to struggle. When Fen Yuyu recalled Qin Yujin's shock after being caught, and how he no longer even pretended to be disguised, and his face quickly turned dark and cold, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. This was not retribution due to the laws of heaven. Well, I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 460. Then where did Qin Yujin's Fox King bloodline come from? Is it related to his mother? Didn't you hear that his mother was just a maid in the palace? Bai Qianchun couldn't help but ask curiously. Fen Yuyu's eyes deepened, and he raised his hand to rub his forehead. It does have something to do with his mother. After catching Qin Yujin, he seemed to be a bit like a winner and a loser. He had a crazy and evil smile throughout the whole process, completely his true identity, which he had been imprisoned for more than 30 years, was revealed, and he actively cooperated and talked about all the things he had done. To be on the safe side, we also used word pills, and later we got a lot of information out of him. It was related to the secrets of the royal family, but after being looked at by Baikin Chun's curious eyes, Fen Yuyu's body immediately became weak, and he quickly surrendered and told everything he had said. His mother's name in the Huayao Empire is Hu Lingmei, which should actually be Fox Lingmei. She is of the royal family of the Orc Empire. For some unknown reason, she ended up in the Huayao Empire at a very young age. Thanks to her being a pure-blooded orc, she could maintain a perfect human form, so she never revealed her secret. She even worked as a maid in the palace. Later, she used the Fox clan's hypnotic charm to seduce the emperor while the empress was pregnant. So much so that His Majesty the Emperor made a principled mistake and made her pregnant, so the relationship between His Majesty the Emperor and my aunt became very tense. The spy Hu Lingmei did a great job just to drive a wedge between the Emperor and the Empress of the Huayao Empire. Bai Qianchun frowned upon hearing this, with an unhappy expression on his face. In fact, she was very disgusted with His Majesty the Emperor's situation of having 3 wives and 4 concubines, especially in this interstellar world where everyone else was monogamous. Even if there were other women, they were just little lovers. He was special and had several affairs. She is a concubine, which is very dislikable. Then what happened later? The other concubines couldn't have been tricked by him, right? This Fen Yuya glanced at her in surprise. He didn't expect that she would change the focus of the topic here. His expression was a little weird for a moment, and he touched his nose. He really might be involuntarily. After sleeping with Hu Lingmei, his body couldn't control that aspect. The more he restrained himself, the more intense the attacks became. After that, the concubine's son and concubine Lin all started out because of accidents. It was for this reason. My aunt gave him a chance to live well, otherwise my cousin might be assassinated to seize the throne when he becomes an adult. Bai Qianchun's eyes flashed and a smile appeared on her lips. Then he and your aunt never suspected Fox Lingmei. Fen Yuyu, I had doubts, but His Majesty the Emperor's physical health, and nothing strange could be found. Later, before they found clues and wanted to arrest her for torture, she escaped back to the Orc Empire. After that, the matter went away. Qin Yujin also committed suicide while still in the palace. As for her death, the Emperor and my aunt never doubted her, let alone the Fox Princess of the Orc Empire. This was only found out after Qin Yujin told her. The reason why Qin Yujin became a spy in the Orc Empire is also related to his mother, because she later lurked back to approach Qin Yujin and used his life experience to threaten him to become a spy. Qin Yujin later gradually degenerated. After his mother's second, that is, after the death of your previous Star Lord Wang Ziyi of Muyuan Star and his escape again, Qin Yujin took over all the nails of the Orc Empire buried in the Huayao Empire and became the biggest black hand behind the scenes. Bai Qianchun was stunned. In other words, before Wang Ziyi's death, the mastermind behind the scenes was Hu Lingmei, and she was in charge of the underground laboratory on Muyuan Star? No wonder. Realization suddenly dawned on her face. No wonder no one took out the contents of Muyuanxing's underground laboratory for so long. It wasn't until she arrived that anyone looked for the laboratory. It should be that Hu Lingmei escaped suddenly and failed to communicate well with Qin Yujin, so it took a few years for Qin Yujin to free up his hands to take care of the affairs of the Muyuanxing underground laboratory. Bai Qianchun quickly understood the 2 lines between Qin Yujin and his mother Hu Lingmei. She secretly sighed. This fox spirit charm is indeed very capable. The initial layout of the Huayao Empire should have come from her. She would like to meet her if she has the chance. After talking about the Orc Empire, Fen Yuyu took the initiative to mention the 9th Legion. He looked at Bai Qianchun eagerly and said, "You are going to the 9th Legion tomorrow. I will send you there. The 9th Legion, the station is right next door to my 3rd Army Corps. Fen Yuyu, I want to experience the feeling of sending my daughter-in-law to work." Bai Qianchun picked up the empty plate and walked towards the kitchen. She rejected him in an unhurried voice, "No, I'll go with my classmates." Fen Yuyu's raised corners of his mouth flattened, with a disappointed expression. The 9th Legion is stationed on a small planet not far from the main star. Because the discussions on the intranets of several major legions were in full swing, and the news that that person was coming to the 9th Legion was getting more and more intense, the silent and even dead soldiers of the 9th Legion couldn't help but feel excited and ready to move. Today is the time for special admissions and recruit registration. They can't wait to finish their training and come to the military port to squat, wanting to see with their own eyes who that person is. But all the recruits and special recruits who came out of the battleship were young and fresh-faced. They had never seen anyone with such obvious overlord spirit as Marshal Huo, who could lead their 9th Legion to rise. People. Could it be that the people from other legions saw the people in their ninth legion as pitiful and deliberately made up such a person to inspire their fighting spirit? The people of the ninth legion expressed that they were a little hurt and depressed. Among the group of slump-faced people, a lively, elegant and handsome face stood out particularly abruptly. Lin Wenbo, what's the matter with you, kid? You're the most expressive. You frown and smile. What are you doing? What happened? Next to him, a handsome young man with strong muscles and a free and unrestrained appearance stretched out his arm, hooked it around Lin Wenbo's neck, straightened the depressed expression on his face, and said casually. Lin Wenbo pulled his arm away, stretched his neck to look in the direction of the battleship, and replied casually with disgust in his tone, "Don't hook me, it's all grown men doing, don't worry about people saying you did that." Qiao Shang didn't care at all. He raised his lips with a very thick skin and joked, "If it's you and Wenbo, I don't mind." Lin Wenbo's elegant and handsome face darkened, he turned his head and glared at him fiercely, gritted his teeth and said, "I mind." Then she blocked his mouth and continued, "I'm here to pick someone up. My mother said that a junior from the same country she particularly liked was coming to our 9th Army Corps as a special recruiter. She even asked someone to bring something for me. Let me take care of her more, so I'm here to pick her up."